Well, let me ask a question. You guys are in a different world than me. I was just a regional guy, and my job was to go out and find the work. But with all you guys out on the road and, small, medium, large shows and all that, tell me when at 3:00 in the afternoon, you guys would say, there is no way that this is going to happen. This is too big of a fuck up. And what was the catastrophe, and how did it get resolved? I love those kind of stories.
It always happened, John.
Daily.
Yeah, I mean, one of the worst ones for us was Jingle Ball, maybe at MSG, maybe 6 years ago or something, where I think it was BML was providing the motors.
Oh,
Pete, I think you might have been on this one. There was two 24-foot trucks. One had all the motor cable and one had the motors. And the one with the motors, the guy was asleep in Secaucus somewhere. Now, Jingle Ball back in those days, this is before it was a tour, 12 or 14 A-list acts, one day in, out through MSG.
Loading in at midnight, if I remember correctly.
Loading in at midnight. Audio came in at around 4 or 5 a.m., sound checks by 9 a.m., doors at 6 p.m., out by 5 a.m. So a brutal schedule with top talent, top to bottom. And around 11 a.m., the first motor point started going up. And we, normally lighting goes up first and all those things. And we were like, how about audio goes up first, and then we can sound check while you're flying the lighting rig up.
Right.
So we got half the PA up. I believe it was the right side, which was technically enough to start sound checking with.
Because stage left is where all the carts come through.
Well, and not only that, we were like close enough, like we can hear what's going on, just envision the left side of the PA.
Yeah.
And I think we only sound checked half the bands, and went and did the show. And it was just, it's crazy with multi-million-dollar acts to be sort of back to bar style, where the first half of your first song is your sound check, and just making sure we got all the inputs. But that was definitely, at 10 a.m. when all the mixing boards are laid out and all that stuff, but there's not a piece of PA in the air. We're like, yeah, I don't actually know that. At what point do you cancel the show? At what point do you shrug your shoulders and say, well, we tried? But that one actually happened. So, Bob, you're absolutely right. It happens. They all
happen.
They all happen.
Somehow or some way.
Right. You start cutting parts. You start realizing what actually isn't crucial. Video screens are cool, but
they used to be.
It doesn't matter if your sound, everyone likes to put sound as the least important part of it, and all the visual elements are important, but radio works. You do not have a rock show without a sound system.
That's correct.
And you can turn on 3 follow spots and call it really artistic, and you're good.
It's a performative dance.
Yeah, but
yeah, John, the last time I had a show cancel was because of a hurricane coming through, and
I don't know why they canceled us.
I would do it.
Blowing the site around.
Was that Mexico?
No, it's Central Park.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I forgot about
New York City.
All right, day 2. We're trying to survive this show. We're getting through some sound checks right now. I don't even know who is up there, and I don't care. As long as that thing's in the air, that's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah. We had the same thing in Guadalajara. I'm the idiot who's like, all my crew is holding up their computers with the weather.com app. And again, this is 10 years ago. I don't know how accurate this stuff is. And it shows this giant, it was Hurricane Wilma that ended up going up and flattening a bunch of Texas. And they're all pointing at their screen going, it's category 5. I'm like, yeah, but it's like 200 miles away. Like, let's keep sound checking, guys. Like, we were doing Latin VMAs, and one of my best friends, Mike Beauvais, came up to me, and I just remember he's got his MacBook Pro in his hand and he's pointing at it and he goes, straight line right to us. And sure enough, within 6 hours, they were flying down some Alaska airline planes to come evacuate us. And it was Tom Holmes, Sean McClintock, and I were because all the audio stagehands left because they had to board up their houses, and we were like, absolutely, like, we'll get what we can get, and 3 of us loaded out 2 semi trucks on our own.
So you went from sound check in the morning to a vac in the afternoon?
We had done 2 days of rehearsal, and on the overnight was when the lawyers got involved and said, get everyone the heck out of there.
Wow.
And Victor Lamb, the tech manager, called me at 5 a.m. or something, and he's like, get everyone out of here. And I'm like, that's vague. Is that like run, or like load out first and then run, or
yeah,
but we did about 6 hours of loadout, and then we got on some private charters and got the heck out of there.
That is
we
a
actually
dead
loaded out
city.
While the planes were flying down because they were somewhere up in the States, the only planes they could find. So while we were waiting for those planes to arrive, we grabbed as much gear as we could and left.
Unbelievable.
And the crazy story on that one, not that isn't crazy. I mean, that was a gig that should not have happened. Like, there were so many things that were wrong, and if you believe in signs or bad omens or something, the venue had a thatched roof, and
nice.
When we first turned the PA system on to tune it, Sean McClintock is at front of house with me. We turned the system on, and they haven't had a sound system on in this venue in years. There are scorpions in the thatched roof. They start falling out of the thatched roof. One lands on the mixing board, and Sean and I are like, this is not a good sign. They had birds that they were going to release at some point in a performance. And in rehearsal, they released, I think they were macaws or something, a very, very large bird. And the birds are released and they start flying in circles around the venue. The birds can't see the 16th-inch aircraft cable that they have strung to hang banners from. So the birds hit the aircraft cable, cuts their wings off, they go crash. I mean, we're like, there were so many signs on this gig that a hurricane was going to come.
Raining scorpions and bloody birds.
Bloody birds and raining scorpions, and yes, that was. Then we were like,
and a hurricane.
And then the hurricane flattened it. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was definitely a yeah. The
I'm
second
so sorry
scorpions land on your mixing board, it might be time to go home.
What a story. Oh my God.
So
all right, guys.
And we'll talk
Yeah.
concerts,
All right, guys.